Honorable Minister of External Affairs, Professor G.L. Peiris, Honorable Deputy Minister of External Affairs, I don't see him here, Honorable Member of Parliament and President of the Janata Party of India, Dr. Subramanian Swamy, Excellencies, Honorable Secretary to His Excellency the President, Mr. Lalit Weerathunga, Honorable Secretary to the Treasury and Ministry of Finance and Planning, Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, Honorable Secretary to the Ministry of Defence and Urban Development, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Honorable Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Shenuka Seniratne, Honorable Secretary to the Ministry of Law and Order, Major General Retired Nanda Malwarachi, Honorable Secretary to the Ministry of Mass Media and Information, Mr. Charita Herath, Commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Jayantha Pereira, Commander of the Air Force, Air Marshal Kolitha Gunatilaka, Past Service Commanders, Director Civil Defence Force, Rear Admiral Ananda Peiris, guest speakers, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Ayubowan, and a very good morning to all of you. As the Commander of the Army and the host of the Defence Seminar 2014, I am honored by your presence and warmly welcome you all to this wonderful learning experience. Your presence at this forum is both overwhelming and inspiring, and speaks volumes of the distance Sri Lanka's Defence Seminar has travelled as an international forum for matters of national security and development. The presence of a large gathering of friends from across oceans signifies the value nations have placed on our relationships. For this, we are grateful to you all, dear friends. Ladies and gentlemen, our island experience as a nation that has passed through the complete cycle of violence, recovery, and now development is unique and provides an opportunity for learning like no other. I assure you that Sri Lanka is a present-day model of how nations could blend security and development together to fetch a better life for its people. The employment of the defense sector to add additional capacity to national institutions, leading national development is one of the many areas that could be beneficial to other countries too. We are fortunate to have in this forum the pioneer architect of this concept, the Secretary to the Ministry of Defence and Urban Development, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Ladies and gentlemen, the effectiveness of this concept in the urban regeneration program and led by the Secretary Defence will be visible to you in the next few days when you experience the city of Colombo. The stability achieved through a hard-fought and won peace and established the conditions for a development drive that has seen the nation rise from the ashes of war, that contentment geared by prosperity. We do not seek much but the rightful place we enjoyed in history, which has been the hub of all activity running through, over, and around our island. The vision encapsulated in the Mahinda Chintana, a vision guiding the development of the nation, calls for the island to be transformed into a naval, aviation, commercial, energy, and knowledge hub. This takes us back to the strategy for prosperity adopted by our forefathers who rightly exploited our geopolitical positioning for national well-being. The employment of the defense sector to security and further these aspirations remains our principal security effort. But the role of the military does not end here. We have extended our capabilities to reinforce development efforts in these hubs too. With the permission of the keynote speaker, the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, I wish to borrow some of his recent economic predictions, which I assure you are very encouraging to Sri Lankans. Sri Lanka is expected to experience a per capita income of $7,000 by the year 2020, from a per capita income of $14,000. This would certainly signal the nation's transit into an upper middle income country, a dream we have pursued with vigor. There is no doubt that this would make the defense sector's job easier, as the increase in incomes would improve life and reduce discontent, which on the long run would strengthen security. Adopting the capabilities of the Army to meet the missions demanded in support of development and nation building while sustaining warfighting capabilities or abilities are among some of the unique challenges we face. Through organizational and structural reshaping, along with a balanced rotation of our nation-building skills, our security capabilities, we have been able to successfully meet these national commitments. Another key contributor to our rise is the success of our reconciliation process, which not only bridges the ethnic divide and adds to national cohesion, but also matches economic separations with dividends to the nation's economy. This has also added to social unity based on an inspired vision of a common and prosperous future. Further, as understanding influenced by collaboration gradually takes root, separatist ideologies would fade away. It is my contention that the incentives of peace experience after the conflict and prosperity within reach has strengthened our security. This should not be interpreted in any way as letting down our guard, ladies and gentlemen. Our national security is stronger than ever. Today, we are much smarter, more vigilant, and possess greater responsive capability to deal with threats to national security. We strongly believe in a balance between national security, which focuses on the state, and human security on the individual. The Army has begun training and acquiring a set of skills and capabilities to meet the requirements emanating from non-traditional threats. A glance at our Human Development Index, which is considered the highest in South Asia, clearly defines our investment in the individual whose satisfaction adds to security. A three-decade violent conflict with the most ruthless terrorist organization of the world has taught us many valuable lessons, amongst them the value of national security and the will to pursue it at any cost. Defense Seminar 2014 is guided by the theme Sri Lanka Challenges to a Rising Nation, which I consider appropriate not just to Sri Lanka, but to all nations, big or small. Through this seminar, we seek to propose our nation's experience as a model for intellectual discourse, with development as a dividend of peace and security. It focuses on the interaction between security, development, and prosperity and their inseparable partnerships. Moreover, many a nation may be struggling for solutions to similar problems. Many more like us may be recovering and moving towards prosperity. And many others may have passed us and reached goals of a secure, safe, and better life. This forum is inclusive of their diverse experiences and knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged by the presence of some of the finest and eminent local and foreign personalities on contemporary subjects to be discussed in the next few days.